Hey guys, due to many requests, I have made a Zamorak Godwars dungeon guide. This guide will show the setups and techniques for successfully killing the Zamorak Godwars dungeon boss since the recent Evolution of Combat update. Whether it is for slayer tasks, money, or recreation, this guide will help you. The Zami boss is found inside the Godwars dungeon, and in order to enter the Godwars dungeon, you will need 60 strength or agility. It is also recommended to have completed the Edgar's Rouge quest, as you will unlock the Trollheim teleport, which teleports you close to the Godwars dungeon entrance. Before heading to Zami Godwars dungeon, it's important to know a few things about the boss, which has changed dramatically since the Evolution of Combat update. It has a combat level of 210, it has 55,000 life points, it uses two combat styles, which are melee and magic, with a max hit of 1500, and it has a weakness to fire spells. Occasionally, he will hit a melee-based special attack which drains some prayer points. There are also 3 minions that are within the Zami Godwars boss room, which have combat levels ranging from level 142 to 151, and each attack with magic, ranged, and melee respectively, just like any other Godwars dungeon boss. The recommended stats for soloing Zami are 90 plus constitution, 75 plus magic for Fire Wave. Fire Surge is preferable, however, Fire Wave will do. Also, you can change this out for the Ancient Magic Blood spells. I chose to show the regular spells as they are currently cheaper and around the same level requirements to cast. 75 plus defense is recommended for Ganodermic armor, as this has high defense bonuses against melee and magic. 92 plus prayer is recommended for the Cursed Soul Split, as this will allow you to heal at the cost of prayer points, and can effectively allow you to solo as long as you have enough prayer. 90 plus Herblore is useful for extreme magic potions, which can be boosted easily from level 90, as well as extreme defense potions, or the best option being using overloads. These can be swapped out for regular magic and defense potions as well. Finally, 67 plus summoning is recommended for the War Tortoise familiar, or better, as a Beast of Burden familiar will be very useful for storing spare potions and extending the length of your solo trip. These are the recommended stats for going on a trip to Zami with 3 or more people. If you do not have Soul Split, you may need to bring some food or use some of the healing abilities more frequently, which I'll explain later. Having more people will allow for lower stats as the damage will be spread out more. However, 75 plus defense is still recommended. For Zami Godwars dungeon duos, I recommend that both players have Soul Split and at least one of the duo partners has the levels I recommended earlier for soloing. Before I continue any further with this guide, I would just like to point out that Godwars dungeon is a very dangerous area, especially inside the boss room, as if you do die you will need to get 40 kill count again in order to reach your gravestone, so I highly recommend going in a group if it is your first time and having an upgraded version of your gravestone. Since the Evolution of Combat update, it has become much more difficult to get kill count quickly, so there is a high chance of not being able to retrieve items you lose on death. So keep this in mind before beginning a trip, and only bring items you are prepared to lose. This is the equipment setup that I recommend for soloing Zami Godwars dungeon. The Ganodermic provides high defense against magic and melee based attacks, as I explained earlier, and everything else provides good defense bonuses as well as magic damage and magic critical bonuses. This gear can be swapped around a lot to cater for different budgets. You can replace the Ganodermic Visor with a Slayer Helm if you have Greater Demons as your Slayer task, or you can change the Chaotic Staff for a wand and a shield. If I was doing this, I would change it to a Farseer Kiteshield and a Griffolic wand. Or, if I had lots of money, an Arcane Spirit Shield and Virtus wand or Master wand. It is a good idea to bring a shield and a wand, as well as a staff if you plan on using more of the defensive abilities that I will explain later, as they require a shield to use. An Armadyl staff is a good alternative to the Chaotic staff if you do not have enough Dungeoneering tokens. It also provides unlimited air runes, so you would only need to bring fire runes in order to cast Fire Surge or Fire Wave. The Ganodermic gloves can be replaced with any of the Dominion Tower gloves, as although they will degrade, Dominion Tower gloves give better bonuses than Ganodermic gloves. Ganodermic boots can also be swapped with Virtus boots or Ragefire boots. The Onyx ring imbued can be changed with a Seer's ring or Dragonstone ring imbued. The Penance Aura can be changed with Reverence, and there are a bunch of other changes you can make to the equipment, which I will include in the description of the video, rather than go through them all now. You might notice the Chaotic Rapier in my inventory. I like to bring this along so that I can kill the ranging minion faster, as it is weak to stab, and will take a very long time to kill with Fire Surge or Fire Wave. One thing to note is if you do have the opportunity, I highly recommend purchasing the Penance Aura, as 20% of the life points you lose are converted into prayer points, which allows you to use the best possible prayers later on at Zamorak Godwars dungeon for an hour. That's all without having to take a sip of prayer restoring potions. You can also bring along multiple auras if you're planning a longer trip. Also, one of the most important things to remember when going Zamorak Godwars dungeon is to have your Zami arrow equipped. This will allow you to get kill count without Zami monsters being aggressive towards you. Without this, you'll probably die when trying to get kill count. This is an inventory setup and Beast of Burden setup that I recommend for soloing Zami. I prefer to use flasks over potions for the obvious reason of being able to bring more doses of the potion with on a trip. The amount of prayer renewals, overloads and anti-poison flasks I bring will depend on the length of the trip I want. Each overload flask and prayer renewal flask will last for 30 minutes, as each dosage lasts for 5 minutes. So for a 2-hour trip I would bring 4 overloads and 4 prayer renewals. Anti-poison double plus flasks last for 1 hour and 20 minutes each, as each dosage lasts for 12 minutes or so. So I would bring 2 of these for a 2-hour trip. I should have mentioned earlier, Zamorak Godwars boss will poison you, so it is important to bring the anti-poison flask to reduce the damage you take. On top of this, I bring enough prayer restoring flask for 1 hour, as the first hour of my trip I will be using penance as my source of prayer points. Usually 5 is fine. That can be 4 regular prayer flasks and 1 super restore, or all super restores. It's a good idea to bring at least 1 super restore flask, as this will boost your summoning points and so you can renew your familiar. Zami also drops super restore potions fairly frequently, so that can help as well. If you're not using penance, then you would be safe in bringing about double the amount of prayer restoring flasks or super restores as I have here. Other than that, I like to bring along 2 to 3 pack yak pouches on top of 1 already summoned, so I can keep a pack yak familiar for the entire trip without having to worry about the timer running out. I also have the left click option of my summoning familiar set to special attack, so I can simply left click the summoning icon, then an item in my inventory to bank it. The winter storage scrolls are important so that you can bank any non-stacking loot easily and make the most cash from your trip. I bring 4 rocktails just in case I need to eat quickly for whatever reason, as the only way you will be able to heal is through soul split using this method and abilities that may not have the immediate effect that you want. I recommend bringing the runes for Trollheim Teleport spell or Trollheim Teleport tab so you can actually get to Godwars dungeon, as well as the runes required for Fire Surge or Fire Wave, and that's pretty much it in terms of inventory. You can also bring a few adrenaline flasks if you want to speed up your trip slightly, as well as dreadnips if you have unlocked them from the Dominion Tower. I only had 13 dreadnips at the time of making this guide. You will want to bring around 100 per trip depending on how many you have and end up using. Keep in mind, this setup I have shown you is for a 2-hour trip. If you want a shorter or longer trip, you can just bring more or less overloads, prayer renewals, anti-poison double plus flasks, prayer restoring flasks, and super restore flasks. For group inventory setups to Zami or lower level setups, I recommend the same as what I have here, except change the pack yak for a war tortoise or terror bird. And also make sure you have enough pouches to maintain those summoned for however long you want the trip, because you may need more, because the pack yak pouch lasts longer than war tortoise and terror bird pouches. And swap the overloads for regular potions or extreme potions if you are not high enough level to make them. These are the abilities that I recommend using at Zamorak Godwars dungeon for both solos and going in groups. Have them bound to whatever keys you prefer. I like them in the current order, as they go from basic to threshold and then to ultimate, with the abilities that recharge faster in that class listed first. So I have Rack, Dragon Breath, Chain, Combust, Impact, Resonance, Asphyxiate, Wild Magic, Metamorphosis, Rejuvenate, Regenerate, and Immortality. Keep in mind that if you are not using a shield, you may not be able to use some of these abilities, such as the defensive ones. What I like to do is bring along my shield and wand, and if I need to heal or use a defensive ability, I change from my staff into my wand and shield. I try to use my abilities in a way that I am constantly using at least one ability to ensure my adrenaline recharges quickly to make for faster kills. The way I usually do it is I use Rack, then Dragon Breath, then Rack again, then another like Chain, and it goes on. But I'll get into more of those details when I actually go and kill Zami. To get to the Zamorak Godwars dungeon, I use my Trollheim Teleport tablet. and I will appear at the top of a mountain. Alternatively, you could have used the Trollheim teleport spell. I will then use the small obelisk here, that just renews my summoning points just after I've summoned my familiar, just so I have a bit more summoning points. It's a nice thing to do. And then I'll start heading east down the mountain. It is 2 lore runes and 2 fire runes for the Trollheim teleport spell if you do not have access to Trollheim teleport tablets. Just keep heading down east down the mountain. There'll be some thrower trolls here, you don't need to worry about them yet. Head down here, there'll be a little ledge. Just climb over those rocks. Now the trolls are coming up here, so you need to head north and you're going to have to run past the trolls. Because I'm level 200 combat, I don't get attacked by the trolls, but if you are lower combat, you probably will. I'm not sure the exact level that you get attacked by them. But right about now, you'll be wanting to put Protect from Range on, and then you head north. Keep Protect from Range on here. Come up to the boulder. Take it off when you're 1 square away from the boulder, where I am right now, because they won't be able to attack you here. And now you've got the option to lift the boulder or squeeze past the boulder. If you're level 60 agility, you can squeeze past. If you're level 60 strength, you can lift the boulder. And squeezing past is faster, so I'm just going to select that option for now. And there'll be some ice walls past here, so put on Protect from melee as soon as you get past there, because these guys can deal a little bit of damage. It's not much, but you know, it's just better to try and reduce the total amount of damage you receive. Because this is a snowy area, your run energy will be drained to 0. So put on Protect from Mage and head down this hole quickly. The snow reduces your stats just slightly, but also gets rid of that run energy, which is a bit of a pain. So now you're down here with all these monsters, just head north, don't panic, just keep heading north. You'll see a bridge. It's a broken bridge, so once you get up to it, take your Protect from Mage off, because there won't be any monsters that can attack you right here, and you're just going to want to select Jump Over Broken Bridge. And this will take you into the Zamorak kill count area, and it'll also drain your prayer points to 0. So you don't need to worry about that too much, that's perfectly normal, and you don't really need any prayer when getting kill count. So now I'm going to show you how to get kill count. Before entering the Zamorak Godwars dungeon room, you will need 40 kill count. The way to get your kill count to 40 is by killing any Zamorak creatures, and the best way of doing this is to kill imps. There are 5 imp spawns within the kill count area, which I will show you now, and just make sure you have Fire Surge or Fire Wave on autocast before you begin attacking. So I'm just going to head east of the broken bridge, and there's going to be an imp spawn right here, so I'm just going to select attack, kill that, 1 hit. There will also be another imp spawn right here. Sometimes the imps just walk a little bit away from the spawn, but there it is there. So that's 2. So now I'm at 2 kill count, and there'll also be 3 imp spawns over here to the east. So there's 1 there, 1 there, and the other 1 there. So that's all the imp spawns, and so those are really quick to kill. As you can see, 1 hit, didn't take any damage. But what I sometimes like to do is attack werewolves while I wait for the imps to respawn, and I can start using some of my abilities here, just if I want to make it a bit faster. But be very careful with what abilities you do actually use, because you're not going to want to attack anything other than what you have selected here, which is that werewolf. So don't use the chain ability or the dragon breath ability unless you're confident you're not going to hit anything. Because if you deal damage to any other monsters here, they'll all start attacking you, and you'll start getting dealt a fair bit of damage. So repeat this until your 40 kill count. Now that I have 40 kill count, I am ready to enter the Zamorak boss room. If I was in a group, I would have joined a friends chat and ensured this was a loot share world, and that loot share was turned on so that the loot could be split evenly among everyone else going. So before you enter the boss room, remember to drink a dose of overload or whatever stat boosting potion you have brought, your prayer renewal, anti-poison double plus, and activate any auras. Then put soul split on and any other prayers you want. In my case, I will put on torment and protect 1 item because I have plenty of prayer points from my aura. So I'm going to do that now. I'm going to sip my overload flask, sip my prayer renewal flask, sip my anti-poison flask, and I'm also going to go to my aura, activate that. I'll just check that it's active. Alright, so that's active. Put on torment, soul split, protect item. Just make sure that you've got your magic on auto cast. Yes, so that's alright. I don't have enough prayer points, I just realized, so I'm just going to activate those prayers again and start attacking the main boss. So Krill, and start using your abilities and gradually working your way up to your ultimate abilities. You can also have a sip of your adrenaline flask here. That'll boost your adrenaline quite a lot there, and that'll help me to get up to my ultimate abilities faster. So right now I'm just trying to use as many basic abilities as I can to reach my best ultimate ability. So now I'm going to use Metamorphosis. So that's a great ultimate ability to use here. And I'll just keep using my basic abilities now that Metamorphosis is doing a lot of damage. And yeah, so basically what I'll use is I use Rack, and then I'll use another basic ability, and then I'll go back to using Rack. And yeah, I'll just continue doing that and just keep using those abilities. You can also use Asphyxiate and Wild Magic, and you know, that'll deal some really good damage. As you can see now, I'm on like a great amount of life points. You know, I'm not losing any life points. So if I was losing life points, I might just changing to my Farseer and my Griffolic wand. And then I've got access to these abilities. So I've got stuff like Resonance. So if I press Resonance, the next attack you receive within 6 seconds will heal you instead of harm you. So that's a nice defensive ability there. And I can also use this thing called Rejuvenate, which is really good. It just heals me up like that. Heals up 40% of my total life points, so I got no worries about taking damage. And he's almost dead. I'll put my Celtic Staff back on because I don't really need any more life points. I just want to kill it quickly. And now he's dead. And what I want to do now is switch to my Celtic Rapier and attack Zackle and Gritch, and change to my melee abilities. If you have them set, it doesn't matter too much, because he's actually weak to stab, and he'll take a lot longer for you to mage than for you to melee. So I'm just going to quickly polish him off with my rapier. That sounds a bit gay. Anyway, so I'm going to kill him, and once he's dead, I'll work towards killing the remaining minions just with my staff again. Switch back to my magic abilities, and I'm attacking them again. So that's really good. And I already have another full adrenaline bar, so I'm not worried about losing health. You know, I could lose a bit of health now. That would be absolutely fine. You can even take your prayer off for these guys if you want, because they're like pretty easy once you've killed that ranger. And there you go. That's pretty much what you do. You just keep doing this, and you can camp here for as long as you want, as long as you've got enough prayer points, and maybe some of those stat boosting potions if you're a bit lower level. That'll help. And now that everything's dead, I'm not full life points. I can also go use a altar every 10 minutes. So I'll just do that for a start, but I'll also activate Regenerate when I get out of that chat window, and that will start regenerating my health, any health I've lost. Yeah, focus your remaining adrenaline to heal your wounds over 6 seconds. Does not work during combat. It's important to know, does not work in combat. But yeah, that's basically what you do. Just keep doing that. Hopefully you get some good drops. So I'm going to attack him again. Just going to make sure my prayer's on. And you can also set your quick prayers, and so you don't have to worry about that so much. You can also sorry, I repeated myself there. You can also drag your quick prayers into your adrenaline bar here, and you can then use a keybind to activate and disable your quick prayers. So that's a really nice way of doing it. But yeah, just keep using those basic abilities, then work up to the ultimate abilities. What I like to do is just use basic abilities, get Metamorphosis down. Once I've done that once, so I'm going to use that right now, I'll start getting my basic abilities to recharge my adrenaline bar once more, and then I'll try using Asphyxiate, and hopefully I'll stay as the flaming guy I am right now. That'll do more damage when I use Asphyxiate, sorry, right now. Well, it didn't do like a great deal of damage. Oh, there we go, there's a 2700. And yeah, so that's basically how I do it. And then I'll try doing Metamorphosis again, or I'll use Wild Magic because Metamorphosis isn't recharged yet, and that'll just speed up the kill. So yeah, that's basically what you do. Sometimes you might kill the minions slowly, and the boss respawns soon after you kill all the minions. So just be wary of that in case you haven't picked up the drops. You might want to do that before that happens. I'm just going to switch to melee again, kill this ranger. And yeah, that's basically how you do it. You just repeat that over and over again. Depending on your stats and equipment, that will dictate how long you can stay, and hopefully you'll get some nice splits. Unique drops that you can get after killing Zamorak are any of the robe pieces of Subjugation, the Zamorakian Spear, the Zamorak Hilt, the Steam Battlestaff, and the Ward of Subjugation. Zamorak supposedly drops one of these items every 50 boss kills on average, according to other guides and my own personal experience. On screen now are just a few splits I have had at Zami. On the whole, I hadn't really been to Zamorak Godwars dungeon much before the Evolution of Combat update. because it wasn't really worth it. Bandos Godwars dungeon and Armadyl Godwars dungeon was better money, but now that you can solo it easy, I have been there much more frequently. But yeah, that's all for this guide. Thanks very much for watching. I hope you found it informative. I'll be bringing out more guides like this for the other God Wars dungeon bosses, as well as my regular videos. So all the best with your future Zamorak God Wars dungeon trips, and good luck on those unique drops.